Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to today's hearing for Popeyes on Ealing Broadway. My name is Councillor Nagpal and I shall be chairing the meeting. My colleagues, Councillor Anand and Councillor Ball, and I comprise of today's subcommittee. Hatun Zeb is the legal advisor to the subcommittee. Isabel Robb is the Democratic Services Officer, who is the clerk to the subcommittee, who is conducting the meeting. You will have all received or seen the agenda pack, within which is contained the licensing officer's report with details of the application in section 1.0. To confirm, we are dealing with a new premises license application in relation to Popeyes 67 to 68 the Broadway, Ealing, W5 5JN. We note the following representations objecting to the application have been received, which is one representation from Miss Anne Chapman, who is Chair of Ealing Civic Society. The subcommittee have read all objector submissions in the agenda and will take them into consideration when making their decision. In accordance with procedure, I shall invite the applicant to present the application, answer any questions and call any witnesses. Invite those who have made representations to make their representations, answer any questions and call any witnesses. At the conclusion of the hearing, the subcommittee, accompanied by the legal advisor and the committee Democratic Services Officer, will retire to consider its decision. The decision will be given at the end of the meeting around 2 p.m. and confirmed in writing forthwith. If the panel cannot reach a decision today, you will be notified in writing within 5 working days of the panel's decision. Thank you. I now invite the applicant to make their to present the application. If you could kindly introduce yourself and the capacity in which you're speaking before you speak. Thank you.
Yes, hello, good morning. My name is Mark Browning. I'm representing Popeyes, and with me is Guion, who is the operations director for all of the Popeyes throughout the UK. Popeyes is one of, if not the fastest growing quick service restaurant in the UK. It's huge in America, the same size actually as Kentucky Fried Chicken, although we don't like to compare ourselves with them, but just to give you an idea of the sort of size of it. And Popeyes chose Ealing to be their headquarters. So as I'm sure many of you might know, they headquarter themselves in the same building as the restaurant. Why Popeyes is different, I'm going to ask Guion to have a chat with you about that. But we're here really to discuss this application, which is also subject to a variation to the planning consent. Looking at the plan, I don't want to get into planning because it's not directly relevant to licensing, but there was a condition put on the planning consent, which was in relation to the fit out and build of the premises. There was an application made for plant, and as part of that, whilst the premises were under construction, there was a condition put in about hours. So that needs to be varied, but today the application is for core hours operation to the public, and that, as you know, I mean, we have in error made an application to include Thursdays as a later trading date. We would formally seek to amend the application so that the hours are in line with your core hours. And we have also applied, being very conscious of your cumulative impact policy, for an extra hour whilst the premises are closed to the public, purely for deliveries. So there would be no members of the premises on the public on the premises, and it would be delivery only. And we found that in all the other places where we have opened restaurants with a cumulative impact policy, such as Camden, Bristol, Cardiff, Nottingham, and all sorts of others, that there is no cumulative impact issue when the premises are closed to the public, because as you are well aware, all of the problems occur from people arriving who may have had too much to drink late at night and that sort of thing. We're very conscious of noise. We're very conscious of litter, cooking smells, and of course people congregating outside the premises. And if I can just ask Guillaume to come in here and say a little bit about what makes us different from the average QSR, quick service restaurant.
Morning all, nice to meet you all. So yeah, as I think Mark has kind of alluded to, I dislike the phrase QSR, and I think unfortunately we do get branded with that stamp quite often. But as a Popeyes main franchise in the UK, we've now got 68 stores. We are officially the quickest opening brand in the UK. Currently, we open one every week across the UK, and we operate across all the main cities now. And I think we're up to around 20 in the London area. We offer an offer all day, so we do breakfast from single customers to families and anything in between. Our main target audience is families, so our target audience isn't kind of teenagers, kind of children, etc. It's the wide spectrum of families. Our average order is 3.2 people. There's an interesting fact for you. So actually, from a clientele perspective of who we attract, we're very clear on our target audience. We're brand new in the UK. We've been here 2.5 years. Our first site was in Stratford, and as Mark alluded to, our head office is in Ealing, and we're very proud to be in Ealing. We've got about 110 people that are based working out the offices across the 2-3 floors in Ealing. We operate all day, as I say. Our sales tend to kind of slow down in store around kind of 8:30, 9 o'clock. So it's not a late night kind of post kind of establishment visits. It's not, we've got a neighbour opposite us that attract quite a lot of people kind of post 10 p.m. for that quick 99 cheeseburger. Yeah, our price point is much higher. Our average spend is £12.30 for a meal. So this isn't a £3.49 kind of happy meal establishment. But what we are kind of doing is growing the business. And as we grow and we open one a week, ultimately, our main objective here is acquire new customers and introduce the brand to the UK. So it's not about making quick money late on and taking anything we can. It's all about trying to build a business. And in Ealing in particular, we call it the golden child a little bit because it is our head office. I'm based there 4 days a week. Our CEO is. So it's one that we take particular care of and making sure that we operate it right. But those are the key bits for me, really, is from a staffing perspective, we staff our restaurants very well. We've got a very, very high, some would say too high, number of ratios of people to customers. So again, the premises here is we're not trying to run a hugely profitably business early. It's about growing a brand. And therefore, if you walk into Ealing at any time of day or night, in the evenings, we have around 12 people closing that restaurant down, as an example, where most establishments, when you close a restaurant like that, you're down to 3 or 4 people. So yeah, we're very proud of the service that we provide. It's all about acquisition and introduction of a brand. And therefore, I hope you take it that it's not a traditional QSR business that is trying to sell £3.49 burger meals all day and trying to do as many as we can. It's about doing it right and providing that service.
Can I also just mention, we obviously, when we put the application in, we made a submission in terms of the conditions that we would offer on the license. The police were satisfied with that. The Environmental Health Service were satisfied, and the other various Ealing statutory authorities were satisfied with them. I just want to draw to your attention one thing which makes us a little bit different. We have a thing called Staff Safe, and Guillaume, just very quickly, would you mind telling the councillors what that is?
Yeah, so Staff Safe, again, I think it holds kind of dear to what we care about. It's an expensive investment, but one that we see a hugely important bit. So a super smart piece of tech that interlinks kind of safety, CCTV and our teams. So it's ultimately a virtual system that allows our team to always have contact directly with the police, but also with any advice. So we've got in Ealing, and I checked this morning, I think we're up to 16 CCTV cameras across that building, from front to house, back of house. Far exceeds any licensing, I think, expectation. All of them are linked to a 24-hour call centre that we work with a company called Staff Safe. So that includes silent alarms, non-silent alarms and triggers. and those are monitored. So if there's an incident, as an example, our team can push a silent alarm. There's a designated team that then monitor all CCTV cameras for that store and can interact directly with the police. So from a store's perspective, it's quiet, it's in, but there's a lot going on in the background. Equally, if we want to interact with a team, not with a phone or a phone call, it's a live speaker system that the team can talk to the support centre, but also can talk directly to the police should they need to. Now, I'm very proud also to say that we've never had to use it in Ealing, and we've also actually only had to use it twice in the 2 years that we've been operating across the UK. But it's a system that we put in primarily to keep, as per the name of the company, to keep our staff safe. But it's another tool that we hopefully just adds a layer of investments that we put in both our teams and our communities.
Thank you. So this moves me on to the representation that's been received from Ms. Chapman. In her submission, she alludes to the fact that we might have a detrimental effect on the community of Ealing. Well, we have been operating for quite a while. We have had no incidents whatsoever. The police have no problem with the way that we operate, nor do the Environmental Health Service. We take great pride in ensuring that our area is clean. We operate, as Brian mentioned, alongside some 24-hour operations like McDonald's and I think Bagel Bite and others. And we operate differently. Ealing is our headquarters, it's our pride. We want to make sure that we hold ourselves to account, and we have shown that to be the case in the way that we've operated so far. So I think it's very unfair to suggest that this license application would have any effect on the detriment to Ealing. We're also not in a predominantly residential area, and we commend the application on the basis that it's totally in line with others, and we feel that we can actually operate more responsibly than others.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. I will now invite Ms. Chapman to ask any questions to the applicant.
Thank you very much, councillors. I've at this stage only got one question. That's about deliveries. I'm assuming that when you talk about deliveries, you're talking about these being made, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, those sort of things with people on scooters.
Well, bicycles and scooters, but we try to use sustainable transport where we can.
Right. The question is, where will they park their bicycles or scooters while they're waiting, or and where will they basically stand while they're waiting, and where will they collect the deliveries from?
That's fair. I'll take that one, Mark. My insight on that one's definitely better than Mark's. So I think there's two bits that we see in Ealing. So we have a designated delivery counter in Ealing. So we would not, so if you envisage the time of closing the restaurant, the front door closes, the lights ultimately go off in that restaurant. We have a designated alley that goes down the side of our store. So down the side in between our store and Max Spencer's, isn't it, on the right hand side there. So in between there's a designated alleyway that we own, that the delivery drivers come. So it's fully lit, and also it's got space for bicycles. So from that one bicycle, that moped, one bike that comes and collects that order, they use our alleyway there. Equally, what you probably saw, and obviously I don't live in Ealing, but I am there 4 days a week. They tend to congregate. McDonald's tends to be the biggest by far of our delivery markets in Ealing. So I think naturally we see some of the bikes park, I gather, up there from McDonald's. McDonald's probably do 30 to 1 of the delivery orders that we do. But from collection to us, they would come down the alley, they would pick up the bag from a designated window that has security shutters and all that stuff for our team, pick up the bag, put it on their bicycle, and off they go. But it wouldn't be on the main thoroughfare or the main pavement of Ealing.
Thank you. That's the only question I have at the moment.
Thank you,
Ms. Chapman. Councillors, do you have any questions?
No questions.
I have a question, Chair.
Go ahead, Councillor Anand.
just following up on the question that the Chapman's asked on the deliveries. There is a common problem with bikes outside McDonald's. So do your delivery people also stand with those people, or are they instructed to stand in the alleyway that you've designated?
No, it's a good question. So we don't instruct and we also don't employ. So the drivers, just for clarity, all the drivers work for either Deliveroo, Uber, Just Eat, normally across all three platforms. So you'll tend to see them with 3 phones quite often. So they tend to work multi-platforms. So we don't control, we instruct where to collect, and there's some advice on their ticket. So when they get an order, they're told where the pickup point is. They're advised not to take a scooter, not to take a bike to certain areas. What we don't advise them or can control really is where they park while they wait for new orders. What you tend to always find, because the algorithm works, is that the closest driver to an establishment gets the first ticket. So it's quite a smart one, which is why you'll always tend to find McDonald's has the biggest issue, because McDonald's, again, generally sell 30, 40 orders per one that I sell on delivery. And therefore, if you're a rider and you want to collect deliveries, you tend to park outside McDonald's, which I appreciate for McDonald's is a challenge that I know they try and battle. So we're not in full control of where they park and where they wait. What we are in control of is to tell them exactly what to do when they collect the order from us.
Thank you. May I have another question, Chair?
Certainly, yes.
Yes, with your application, your license currently, have you had any issues or any warnings from the licensing authorities? And am I clear to understand that there's no alcohol served in your premises?
Well, Councillor, there is no license currently, but there's certainly no alcohol sold. This is only an application for late night refreshment, which is the sale of hot food or hot drink after 11 p.m.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, just to add, there have been no issues in our trading to date with any of the Ealing statutory authorities or responsible.
That's what I wanted to clarify. So yes, thank you. You've been operating quite sensibly. That's great. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I have one question. If you could kindly elaborate on the rationale for wanting to extend your hours, because you've sort of said that this isn't a profit-making exercise. So can you explain to us why you're looking to extend your hours in that case?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be like to say that there's some profit in it, because I wouldn't be doing it otherwise completely. So there's some trading, but we know the delivery market in that part of the world is big for us. And what we tend to find on the split of sales in Ealing is about 40% of our total sales throughout the trading hours that we do currently tends to be delivery, and that tends to be for most businesses in your part of the world. So the same for McDonald's, Popeyes, about 40-45% of their sales will be delivery. What we're trying to do, I guess, is grow that brand. We've been there for 2 years and 1 month. There's an opportunity for a wider delivery market within Ealing. So as a part of good behaviour on delivery platforms, you start to explore further radiuses, etc. So what it gives us an opportunity is to introduce the brand, and some of the changes we're making to our offer, the meal offers, the offers as you package them. I won't bore you, but sourced wings, etc., hits a different target audience, which gives us an opportunity for a bit more late night. So we know that there's no footfall opportunity. So to open them and to come to you and ask you for in-store trading late, we know there's no opportunity, but there is without a doubt a delivery opportunity kind of slightly later. Yeah, in some markets, we would put a market in for 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. We do operate those hours in Manchester, for example. We do the model that we do now in Manchester till 5 a.m. Again, no problems, and we've never had any problems in that market. But the Ealing market certainly has an opportunity, and we see currently that 11 to 12 market being quite strong on delivery, and the metrics tells us that there's a further opportunity. But it's about introducing the brand to more people, I guess, it's as short.
Thank you. Are there any further questions from councillors? No. Okay, I will now invite Ms. Chapman to make her representations.
Thank you. You'll have seen the representation that I made. I highlighted the hours that had been requested and made the the first point I made, that the hours that have been requested on Thursday exceeded the core hours. Now, I welcome the comment from Mr. Browning, and something he confirmed to me earlier in an email, that they will reduce the request for Thursday to bring it in line with Sunday to Wednesday and with core hours. So that's fine. What, though, I do need to highlight is that I did not make a comment in my representation about this extended additional hour for deliveries, for the simple reason that that was not included in the council's summary online of the application. We do not get to see the full application form. I did not see that form until I saw the papers for the hearing. The summary application, and this is still the case, I checked it, rechecked it yesterday, only mentioned the on-site trading hours. So had the extra hour for deliveries been mentioned, I would have included that in my representation. So I need to add that, make that point clear now. And that was not, that was entirely through the lack of information from the council, I'm afraid. I appreciate that the on-site trading hours have now been brought within core hours, but the point here is that for very good reason, as has been pointed out, the trading hours of this premises was originally conditioned by a planning condition to prevent or to preserve local amenity, to prevent a business having people, an additional business having people coming and going, and possibly gathering. I think there is undoubtedly in the later hours of the evening, there is potential for gathering of people, possibly people when they've been drinking, which can lead to antisocial activity and incidents of public nuisance, and further extending the hours will only make that more likely. So there is a cumulative impact, notwithstanding that there are other premises, and I accept this, that have these hours. The more premises that are authorised to do this will create cumulative impact. And we do not want, surely none of us councillors or residents want Ealing to become somewhere that people only go to in the evenings for fast food. It's already a place that some, I know, some older people do not feel they want to go to in the evenings because of the numbers of perhaps younger people and numbers of people who've been drinking that they may encounter. So there is a potential cumulative impact, and there is the potential for public nuisance from this. If I can turn to the extra hour for deliveries, that obviously, I mean, it's a slightly different concept to one that we normally see, but it effectively means an extension of an hour every night beyond recommended core hours, even if there aren't people involved. This will cause disturbance of these delivery people coming and going. It potentially, I think, causes a danger to people who may be on the streets at that time, because as we know, some of these delivery vehicles, and I know this is not anything that Popeyes can control, but the delivery drivers drive recklessly, ride recklessly, I should say. They do not take notice of traffic lights. They do not always take notice of pedestrians. Popeyes is located right next to a major pedestrian crossing point on the Broadway, and that just the fact that these more drivers may be around late at night does give me a concern, and I say I would certainly have objected to that in my representation. I think that's really all I can say. I mean, you're aware obviously of what you legally can and can't approve, but I say it really is that we would invite Popeyes really to respect Ealing, something that I'm afraid they do not appear to be doing at the moment, and the requirement to stick to what has previously been considered to be appropriate trading hours. That's all I think I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chapman. Ms. Seb, did you want to come in?
Yes, Chair, thank you. There are two matters I think that you may want to be some clarification on. So firstly, Ms. Chapman has mentioned something that was in the papers that wasn't brought to her attention, and it wasn't clear to me what that was. It's so that firstly it could be noted in the papers and also to be fed back to the licensing team if indeed there is something that was missing. Ms. Chapman, can you just confirm what it is that you're saying that you weren't aware of in the application and the agenda pack?
The additional hour every night for deliveries after the premises is closed to patrons in person. If you or the licensing team look at the summary of the application, it only mentions late night refreshment until midnight or 1 a.m. The application, quite correctly, is consistent. It requests either 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to accommodate the deliveries. And that is in the agenda pack and in the summary at the beginning of the papers. But I say it was not something that anybody looking at the application would have been aware of.
Okay, perhaps Mr. Browning can just double check that, but certainly the consultation has been conducted, it appears, from the agenda pack, and so the process has been followed, and any application or any summary that's provided in the agenda pack will be that which is contained within the application itself that's made by the applicant. Mr. Browning may want to respond to that at some point. And the second matter, Chair, just to bring to your attention and the panel's attention, is that the representations from Ms. Chapman thus far have been around the potential for public nuisance and the potential for public protection. And no doubt, as a panel, you'll be aware that this hearing is not about the potential for harm, it's about any evidence of actual harm. And again, I'm sure Mr. Browning will be able to make representations in regards to that, but Ms. Chapman will no doubt be aware that it is the 4 licensing objectives that the committee are concerned with today, not the potential of the impact, but the actual impact and any evidence of the actual impact from this premises. And then my final question for Mr. Browning, just to confirm that the error that you've highlighted and the variation that you've sought, so that when the committee come to make their decision that they're very clear. Your application at the moment reads opening hours Thursday to Saturday, 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sorry, 7 to 1 a.m. Are you asking for that to be amended to Thursday to Saturday? Amended to Friday to Saturday? And Sunday, it says Sunday to Wednesday, and are you asking for that amendment to be Thursday to Wednesday, and the same for late night refreshments? Is that what you're inviting the committee to vary?
Yeah, sorry, just to be clear, the application would be Sunday to Thursday, closing at midnight, and Friday and Saturday closing at 1 a.m. That's the application. So sorry if it's
No, that's most helpful. Thank you. Chair, those were the only matters that I wanted to raise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zeb. Ms. Chapman, did you want to add something?
Thank you. Could I just respond to that? I think, sorry, I may have not been clear, Ms. Zeb. The problem is that as somebody making a representation, at the time that we were advised of new applications, we do not see the full application form. That is no longer published by the council. All we see is the summary of opening hours and what has been requested. And that did not include the additional hour for deliveries. That was, as I've said, yes, it's in the application quite correctly and therefore in the agenda papers, but the agenda papers were only available obviously a week before the hearing, after the representations have been put in. It's because it's an unusual application. It's a detail, but I'm just trying to clarify what to say. And also to respond to the point about the potential, no new license or extension can ever provide evidence, because by definition, it's something that's not happened before. But the representation is made in the terms of the licensing objective of prevention of public nuisance, on the basis that there will be cumulative impact of extended hours, which will extend the hours when public nuisance may be caused by the premises. So that's just clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chapman. I will now invite the applicant to ask any questions they have of Ms. Chapman.
Well, I mean, just clarifying a little bit, I hear entirely what Ms. Chapman said about seeing the summary. The only thing I would add is that the notice on the premises and also the notice published in the press, etc., did state the later hours. Actually, it did state 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. But anyway, you know, Ms. Chapman's been able to give her evidence about the later delivery times, and so I don't think anybody's prejudiced by it, particularly because Ms. Chapman has obviously made very clear her position on the later hours and other things. I mean, I would say, Ms. Chapman, it is relevant, is it not, in these circumstances that Popeyes has been trading for 2 years, and you know, I hear what you say, that in many applications you have no idea. It may be a restaurant that's arriving or a club that's arriving in Ealing that you know nothing about, but you know, at least we have some evidence here, and that we've been here for 2 years, and you've seen the sort of premises that we are.
Ms. Chapman?
Yeah, yes, I mean, I hear what you say, but I don't think I have anything else to add.
Thank you. Any further questions from the applicant to Ms. Chapman?
No.
Councillors, do we have any questions for Ms. Chapman? Councillor Ball, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So on the point about the extra hour for deliveries, I'm just thinking, so if somebody is you know, sitting at home in Ealing and they're hungry, and you know that they want to order some food late at night, I mean, if Popeyes isn't open, you would imagine they'll order it from another place that is. So I'm struggling a bit to see that the extra hour would mean a net increase in danger from, you know, badly driven scooters and so on, because surely it doesn't increase the quantum of delivery so much as just shifting them from one place to another.
Ms. Chapman, would you like to respond?
Sorry, I didn't see that as a question for me, rather than an observation. I mean,
it was a bit of an observation.
I can't say what somebody who is hungry after midnight is likely. Are they going to be absolutely focused on it must be Popeyes, or are they going, or it must be chicken, or are they going to say, well, I need something and I've got nothing in the fridge? So let me just have a look, see who's open. I'll go to them. I suspect from what we've heard, Popeyes would like to think that people are specifically wanting to go to Popeyes because of the offering and what they say, you know, the differentiation from other offerings. But I honestly can't say. They obviously think that it is worthwhile, and they have said it's worthwhile commercially opening. So they're obviously anticipating that there will be people coming to them that perhaps might otherwise have been not coming to anybody, but I honestly can't say.
Okay, fair enough, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Ball. Thank you, Ms. Chapman. Councillors, any other questions? Okay, I will now give Ms. Chapman the opportunity to summarise.
Thank you. Really, I have nothing more to add other than that I do believe that this extension, and particularly the extension beyond core hours, will lead to a cumulative impact in the town centre, which would be to the detriment of local amenity and could cause public nuisance, or would be contrary to the licensing objective of prevention of public nuisance. That's all I'd like to say.
Thank you, Ms. Chapman, and I will now give the applicant an opportunity to summarise their application.
Well, I think you've heard what we say. That I just want to re-emphasize cumulative impact. We took that extremely seriously. We know what a cumulative impact policy is. We have opened, as I said, in lots of different premises around the country that have similar cumulative impact policies. The whole reason that we decided to close at the hours that we've stated is to prevent cumulative impact. And as Chapman herself said, that cumulative impact is predominantly people hanging around, maybe those who've been drinking, looking for somewhere to eat late at night and that sort of thing. Well, we're avoiding that completely by closing the premises. There would be no incentive to hang around them at all, and offering deliveries only. So we hope that we've negated that cumulative impact by doing that, and we completely respect Ealing's policy and apply to trade during core hours as approved. And I would just add that none of the other statutory authorities that we liaised with and discussed this application with had a problem, and said that the conditions that we had suggested were robust and designed to promote the licensing objectives. So that was good to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Browning. So just for the benefit of the panel, then, to clarify, you are looking for 7 a.m. until 2300 hours for eat-in, and then from 2300 hours until midnight will be delivery only, and Friday to Saturday from midnight till 1 o'clock will be delivery only. Is that correct?
Sorry, I'll just clarify. So the times we're talking about obviously are from 11 p.m. every day, because prior to 11 p.m. there is no restriction and no license required. So the license that we're applying for the premises to be open and trading to the public are from 11 p.m. to midnight on Sunday to Thursday, and for delivery only whilst the premises are closed on Sunday to Thursday from midnight to 1 a.m. And then on Friday and Saturday from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. would be open to the public and trading, and from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. would be closed to the public, but just providing deliveries. I hope that makes sense.
It does. Thank you very much for that clarity. The panel will now retire to make its decision. We anticipate being back around midday, if that does that work, Isabel and Ms. Rob and Ms. Zeb?
That works.
Great. Okay. So if everybody could return at midday. Thank you.
Thank you very much.